And now I'd like to invite the children, the young people who are in the congregation to please come forward and join me at this time. I won't be doing that, but good morning, good morning, good morning. It is good to be together. Today we're with Jesus and his disciples and a Pharisee. Who were the Pharisees? The Pharisees were like the teachers of the law in ancient Israel. So with his disciples and the Pharisee and people who were gathered at the Pharisee's house for dinner. And Jesus is talking with them about the best place to sit. The best place. Where is the best place to sit? Like, where's the best place to sit at a basketball game? Yeah, in the stadium, and the best seats are courtside, right? The best seats are right beside the court, so when the players go running down the court, their sweat just sprays off of them and lands on you. Those are the best seats, they say. Never been there, but that's what I'm told. Where are the best seats at a baseball game? Same courtside, they say right behind home plate. Right behind home plate, they say, are the best seats at a baseball game. I've never sat there, so I don't know. But what about the best seats at a concert?
Same as basketball.
Same as basketball. You want to be up close. You know, I went to a concert not long ago and went online to get tickets, and they sell tickets that are called partial view tickets, which means you can't see. You know, you can see the sky and you can see the people behind you, but if you look toward the stage, there's going to be an obstruction in your way. You're not going to be able to see very well. So you get in the building, but you don't really have a very good view. Partial view seats. Probably not the best seats. Probably the best seats are near the front or up in the balconies, like at a football game. Up in the boxes, you look out over everything. You know, I was in the luxury boxes at Levi's Stadium, not for a football game, to get a COVID shot. But at least I was up there and could look out onto the stadium and get a view of how it looks from the luxury boxes. I was up there. And Jesus says, when you come into a dinner, don't go to the best seat. Take the seat that nobody wants. Take the partial view seat, partially obstructed view. And then, if your host sees you and says, oh, you got a terrible seat, they'll bring you up and say, we're going to give you the seat of honor. And because if you humble yourself, you'll be exalted. So you don't go into a dinner or into a banquet or a basketball game or a baseball game or into a concert and say, it's all about me, I need the best seat. You go in and you find a seat humbly, and Jesus says, if you humble yourself, you'll be exalted. You'll be brought up forward. I mean, does that happen? Does that really happen? You take a humble seat and someone brings you up and says, oh, you get the best seat? It does happen. It happened on our vacation when we were in France. We were in Paris, and I'd go into these restaurants, and the waiters would take us out to the best seat in the restaurant, out in the main window, and take really good care of us, not because of me, but because of my lovely wife. They wanted my lovely wife to be seated out in the window of the restaurant so that as people were passing by, they'd be able to see how much she was enjoying herself. It was remarkable. Never did I get such good service ever in the history of the world as when we went to Paris. It was a thing. So now, where's the best seat in church? Anywhere. Anywhere in church is the best seat in church. You're absolutely right. Anywhere. And at a basketball game, where's the best seat? Anywhere. Anywhere. You know, back in the day when I was much younger, we would go to Oakland and go to Warriors games and get the tickets that were way, way up in the back of the rafters, and you could hardly breathe because the oxygen was so thin up there. But I mean, we were in the building and you could watch the game and scream and carry on. It was wonderful, and the tickets were super cheap. And then the Warriors won a bunch of championships, and now you got to save up your allowance before you can go to a Warriors game. But anywhere in the building, best seat in the church, anywhere. Best seat at a basketball game, anywhere. Best seat at a concert, anywhere. Be there. Be a part of it. And it's true that you can get invited up from a humble seat to an exalted seat, and that happened to me at the Crystal Choir 25th anniversary musical celebration at some wonderful music hall in downtown San Jose. And I went in and I went to go sit in a seat in the back of the auditorium. And the usher grabbed me by the arm and said, "You're the pastor." And I said, "I am the pastor." And he said, "Oh, they have a seat for you." And he brought me up to the front and pushed people out of the way and brought me in and put me right in the center of the auditorium, right in the front row, right in front of the stage. And all the people around me were looking at me. It was tremendously embarrassing. And people were wondering, who is this guy? Who is this guy? And during the concert, they stopped and they recognized some of the great donors of Crystal Choir, and they were sitting next to me. Oh, these people donated for the choir to support the choir, and these people donated to support the choir, and everybody cheered when they were recognized, and then they recognized me, the pastor of Union Church. Would you stand up, please? And I stood up, and people thought, who is that guy? I don't know that guy, and I didn't get any big round of applause. It was a humbling experience to be called up to the center aisle in the main row. And so Jesus says, be there, and it will be a blessing. Be at the banquet, be in worship, be at the event, and be blessed. And so I've got a quiz for you, a Bible quiz. We have some chairs to set up, and ideally I would set up 13, but I'm not going to set up 13. I'm going to set up 5. And you can just imagine that this stretches down this way for about 5 seats, and then there's like 3 seats on that side, and then there's 5 more coming this way looking in this direction. So kind of set up like this, and a table in the middle. And that's how Jesus and his disciples sat at the Last Supper when they had the Passover meal in Jerusalem. Actually, these weren't chairs, they were couches. And there was a couch that kind of stretched down this way, and then there was a couch that stretched down this way, and a couch that stretched down this way. And they weren't all in one long line at a table. There was a table in the middle, and it was like 5 of them, 3 of them, 5 of them, 13 together for the Passover meal. Where did Jesus sit? Jesus sat in the host seat, which was second from the end, facing the door. Who sat in this chair? This is the chair for the trusted friend, the person who is your right-hand man who sits at your right hand. Who sat there of Jesus' disciples? John, exactly, the trusted friend. This is the seat of honor. This is the servant seat, back to the door, closest to the door. If anybody at the table needs anything, who gets up and gets it? The servant, the person sitting at the servant seat. So when the disciples go to the Passover meal, of course, they start to have an argument with each other over who's going to get the best seats. And this is the honored, or the best friend, the trusted friend. This is the guest of honor. This is where the host sits. This is where the servant sits. Who was the guest of honor? Judas. Judas was the guest of honor. Judas had the honored seat right next to the host. Who was the host? Jesus. Who sat in the servant's seat? Nobody wanted to sit there, but somebody did. Peter. Peter sat in the servant's seat, the humblest seat. And Jesus says, if you humble yourself, you'll be exalted. If you exalt yourself, you'll be humbled. And what Jesus wanted Judas to do was to understand that you can humble yourself. It's not too late to humble yourself before the Lord and to receive the blessing that Jesus came to bring. Even when you've got all kinds of ideas going on in your head about how it's all about you, it's not too late to open your heart to say, it isn't all about me. I can be a servant. I can humble myself before the Lord and serve and experience the blessing of God that way. Because every seat is the best seat. We are all a part of the family of God. And so when we go home and we sit down together to have a meal, it's not an opportunity to complain and talk about all the things that have gone wrong. It's an opportunity to humble yourself and celebrate the goodness and the gladness and the blessing of being together, and to recognize that every seat at the table is the servant's seat. And so you might even say, is there anything I can do to help? That would be a beautiful thing. Every seat is the best seat, and we share together in the blessing of the banquet of God. Let's bow our heads for a word of prayer. Gracious God, we thank you and praise you for the gift of this day and this time and the lessons that Jesus came to teach us. The one who humbles themselves will be exalted. The one who exalts themselves will be humbled. And humbly, we recognize that we are blessed to be together right here, right now. In Jesus' name, we give you thanks and praise. Amen. So I brought you a couple of things. One, the humblest treat I could think of. The humblest treat. What's the humblest treat? What's the humblest treat you can think of? Well, I thought of saltine crackers. That's pretty humble. You can't get much humbler than saltine crackers. And I had them in the shopping cart, and I was going to get them. And then I remembered something, that I've actually eaten something humbler than saltine crackers. Back in the day, when I was like 7 or 8 years old, we had a dog. I mean, we always had dogs, but when I was 7 or 8, we had a dog, and our dog got a special treat that were in the cabinet under the kitchen sink, and they were in a cardboard box, and they were little discs that looked like Hershey's Kisses. They looked like chocolate kisses, but they were dog treats. Now, dogs don't eat chocolate. Chocolate makes dogs very, very, very sick. Don't ever give dogs chocolate. It's bad, bad, bad for them. I don't know why they made these dog treats look like little Hershey's Kisses, but our dog loved them. And you'd take the box out from under the sink and shake it, and they'd rattle around in the box. Oh, the dog would come running. It didn't matter where the dog was. In came the dog, and got to give it a little treat. Well, I gave the dog a little treat, and then I took one out and I looked at it. And I thought, this looks exactly like a Hershey's Kiss. I wonder how it tastes. The dog loves it. So I took a bite out of the little dog treat. I'm still recovering. That was a long time ago. I don't know why the dog liked these so much. It was horrible. It was bad. It was really bad. I can't even tell you what it tasted like. So that is the humblest thing I've ever eaten, a dog treat. On purpose, by mistake. It was all bad. So I brought you Scooby snacks. A little better than the dog treat I ate once upon a time, but they're kind of cinnamon-covered graham crackers, and they are a treat. And Scooby-Doo is on the cover. And one for your brother, and one for you to enjoy, the humblest snack I could think of. And what's the most exalted treat there is? Candy? Well, kinda, sorta. Candy. Ice cream is the correct answer. Ice cream, and because I was fooled by fake chocolate, you get a little tiny ice cream cone with real chocolate and real ice cream. These are the Trader Joe's ice cream cones, and they are super yummy. They're the best ones. And when is the best time to eat it? Now, absolutely. Don't be shy. Dig in and enjoy the blessing of God. And one for you and one for your brother. Isn't that good? I'll tell you what, I did a little quality control last night. One is not enough. Church school is happening out that way.